What's up? Uh, did a mock draft with Colin. I have a little bit of a cold, so sounding pretty rough right now, but hopefully I'm good for next week. Um, just wanted to give some thoughts about the mock draft we just did. It was just the two of us, but it's more data points for you guys to look at. Um, we'll start with Colin and his strategy. Um, so with his team, he went Javante with his first pick. Um, who could be amazing this year. An injury to Melvin Gordon would really make him top five at his position, likely. Um, with Melvin Gordon there, I'm afraid it's going to be harder for him to have like that elite finish in year one. But he's obviously somebody who could grow into a yearly top five running back. So dynasty outlook, very good. Redraft outlook, a little questionable this year. But we're playing dynasty, so that's good. Good pick. And then grabs Justin Herbert on the way around. Herbert's going to be good forever. So also a good dynasty asset. He's a good starting quarterback right now anyway. Probably top five quarterback this year in redrafts. Um, so that's a plus at that position. So far, we haven't grabbed a wide receiver. So on the way back with the third round reversal, Colin grabs a wide receiver in Deontay Johnson. And he could be a wide receiver one this year. I could definitely see that. I'm not sure how good that offense is going to be with Mitch Trubisky there. Um, so will he get utilized? I don't know. It's kind of hard for like this year to decide, and then his contract's up. So after that, he could be anywhere, which could be really good for his value. But we know he's a good player. Like the talent is there. If you were trying to win, I would think you'd go like Aaron Jones, but it seems like you're going on talent and youth. Like Deontay Johnson is very young, right? So he's only been in the league 3 years. So far, kind of building a team that is fit for dynasty. Waller's the next pick, and that's an interesting pick. He's 29, right? So he's on the older side. Probably only has a couple more years of like being that top tier of tight end. So his window's a little shorter than the rest of the bunch. So that's just something to keep in mind. Follow that up with a Devontae Smith pick, which he's a young stud. I love Devontae Smith. I have a hard time not picking him in every single draft. And he's in kind of another situation, kind of like Deontay Johnson, where you're like, I'm not sure if this dude has top 10 upside this year, but I like his talent, right? So you'd think if Jalen Hurts can't do his thing and be that top five quarterback, then top 10 quarterback that they need for that Philly offense, then maybe they replace him in the draft with like a Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, somebody like that. Philly could easily do that because it looks like they're trying to win now with that AJ Brown move. But yeah, Devontae Smith has a lot of mouths to. There's a lot of mouths to feed in the Eagles offense, a lot of mouths to feed in the Pittsburgh offense. So these wide receivers aren't, necessarily going to gobble up that volume that you necessarily need for a wide receiver one. They're not like a Cooper Kupp or Devontae Adams or Diggs. Those guys, Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf, Mike Evans, guys who are going to get a lot of attention compared to their peers. I think Mike Evans is probably a bad example. That's okay. All right, so far, long term, this team has a ton of room. Like a room window has a huge window to compete. The only pick that's kind of shorter term so far is Waller. So followed up with a Miles Sanders pick. I think this is the first pick where I don't love it as much. I think I would have preferred like a Juju or uh, Gabe Davis or um, not too many others. Like Juju would have been really good. I'm not a huge Christian Watson fan, but he's a rookie that you could have picked there, um, and kind of banked on some upside, being the wide receiver one in that Green Bay offense. Um, Tony Pollard is more of a long term play. He's a little older, but he hasn't gotten much use in that offense. So yeah, so far it felt like the Miles Sanders pick. You're kind of trying to fill out your team and fill out a running back room when maybe it's not super necessary. I mean, we kind of know what Miles Sanders is. Maybe he turns it up this year. Who knows? And blows everybody away with his production. But yeah, that's the only pick that in the top like 7 here that I'm have too much of a concern with. You get Gasecki, who we'll see what he does with Tua this year and that new offense. Kadarius Toney's perfect for this team. David Bell's perfect for this team. Kenny Pickett's perfect for this team. Towards the end, I'm not even going to talk about your 12th and 13th round picks. Not not worth our time. But overall, I'd say Waller was a pick that doesn't super fit with your build, but he will be good for a couple of years, and that's all you're really looking to do is win within the next year or two. Um, Miles Sanders, could he be like a backup running back next year or something? Like, is that possible? Yeah, I could see that happening. So is that pick worth it? I think that's the only one really I have trouble with is the Miles Sanders pick. We can talk about my team. I picked a nursing home basically after my first two picks. I went Pitts and Josh Allen, so I got my tight end and QB situation locked up, and then a bunch of old dudes with Tyreek Hill, Hopkins, Allen Robinson, Adam Thielen as my wide receivers, and then a bunch of running backs. My attempt this time was, or what I was trying to do this time was, hey, can I still field a competitive team if I pick a tight end and a QB in the first 2 rounds? And I'd say I did, but I don't love it. I'd rather my running back room be stronger to be competitive. Like if we look around at other teams, like a DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, Antonio Gibson, that's a much better running back room. For Team 7, Team 5, you got Najee, Dobbins, Connor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Team 1 went 3 running backs in a row. Not huge on Akers this year, or Kenneth Walker for this year in particular, because that Seattle offense is bad. Love the talent with Kenneth Walker. But obviously Taylor kind of trumps any of these old dudes I have. Mitchell is younger, but like we all know, Elijah Mitchell could be replaced pretty easily in that San Francisco offense. But yeah, if you look at my team, like I don't hate it, right? I mean, it looks pretty competitive this year. Once Hopkins gets out of his suspension, this team should be rolling. And then my last picks were all kind of upside running backs. Basically, if you're a contender, you want to look to maximize your payoff, right? Like this year, right? So I could have picked guys that like Jalen Tolbert or Khalil Shakir or Alec Pierce, Wandale Robinson, like these young wide receivers with my picks. But the likelihood of them popping off in year one is pretty low. Now, these other guys like Brian Robinson, Herbert, Trey Sermon, Pacheco, like those guys, if there's an injury, they're all of a sudden an RB1 on their team. They're starting running back on their team, and that's startable in our league. So if you're a contender, I really like that strategy of grabbing lots of running backs late. So that's what I was trying to do, given my running back room was kind of awful with Zeke and Mitchell. This team is only going to be competitive for a couple years. I've locked up my QB and tight end spots for 10 years, likely, in this league, but the rest of it is a couple years on the window. Like Zeke probably only has another year left, probably, of being super competitive. Hopkins is old. Allen Robinson's old. Adam Thielen's old. Tyreek Hill's old. Melvin Gordon's old. Like a lot of my value is going to go away in 2 years. In 2 years, this team is going to be garbage. So I am trying to win right here, right now. So that's about it. All I wanted to talk about this time. Looking forward to our draft on Tuesday.